And in all that rush, Michael Ignatieff joins me now. Nice to see you.
Nice to be here, Don.
Caught your breath? You're okay?
Yeah, I'm still running. It's been one of the most extraordinary days of my life, and I'm just very. It began with Bob Ray putting my name in nomination. I've known Bob for 40 years. It was an act of extraordinary generosity, and then Dominique Leblanc seconded it, and Stéphane Dion stepped down and said some very generous things about me, and it was a day you'll always remember. So it was.
Well, last Friday, December the 5th, you were on this broadcast. You were down in New Brunswick, I think, St. John. And you said at that point, I think the executive is looking at ways to expedite the leadership. But did you think that within 5 days you would be the leader?
No, I don't think I did. I was. Everybody has to understand. I declared my candidacy, weeks ago. I was. I was down in St. John talking to the rank and file at the Boys and Girls Club in St. John, which I loved. I was looking forward to a long race right through May. But we were faced with a parliamentary emergency. We would not be a credible opposition going into these dramatic challenges that we have to face on the 26th of January unless we had the leadership issues resolved. The party, we didn't create this situation. Mr. Harper created this crisis, and we moved, I think, decisively to get our leadership together so we can act in the interest of Canadians on or after the 26th of January.
Now, you held out the prospect earlier in your news conference of supporting a budget that you said was in the national interest, but you said that Mr. Harper had to walk back down the hill. What is that a metaphor for? What does he actually have? I mean, he's not going to walk down Parliament Hill, surely. So what did you actually mean?
Well, I think he's made a series of strategic blunders, and I think Canadians understand that. He presented an autumn statement which, instead of giving Canada a way forward through the economic crisis, simply said, here's what I did last year, 18 months before. It gave us absolutely no vision of how to deal with the most serious crisis in 30 years. And then it included a tax on collective bargaining rights for trade union. It attacked pay equity. It took a whack at opposition parties. The whole thing was just completely a catastrophe in parliamentary terms. He achieved the unique feat of uniting all the opposition parties against him. And that's where we've been ever since. He's lost the confidence of the House. And he's run away from Parliament by proroguing Parliament. So that's where we are. We've got an executive in hiding from the Parliament. It's an unprecedented situation. And we've said he made this crisis. He has to get himself out of it. He's going to present a budget on the 26th of January. All I've said is that Canadians will not find us a credible party in opposition if we say, we don't even care what you put in the budget, we're voting it down. Okay, we have to assess that in the national interest, and we will.
But do you want any negotiation, consultation with him before the budget, or you want to see the budget and then you'll make your decision? Because I think he sounds as though, in a kind of roundabout way, that he would like to talk to you before that. In fact, I was told that his office is called your office today.
Look, trust has been broken. Yeah. A minority parliament has to work on trust. Trust has been broken. Let me be clear, do not believe the numbers we've been given. You can't even get a consultation started unless we're working from the same numbers. We believe that Mr. Harper and Mr. Flaherty did not tell the Canadians the truth about the state of the Canadian economy. For example, they didn't tell us what the TD Bank is now reporting, that the budget deficit is likely to be about $10 billion. I've heard estimates that it'll be $10 billion or more in 2010. Unless we start getting the numbers, getting the truth as a common baseline, we got nothing to talk about.
But can you wait until the budget comes down and look at they bring out a book of papers like this, or do you want to do that in January or even in December before the budget process is finalized?
I don't want to engage in negotiations with Mr. Harper. Mr. Harper.
So you don't want input into the budget. You want to see what he does, and then you want to make up your mind based on that. Am I understanding you right?
We are going to see Mr. Flaherty next week, the finance critic. Yeah. That's been a prearranged meeting. And we're going to say, let's have the books, please. If we're going to have any discussions at all, we've got to know where we are. You've not told Canadians the truth. Let's have some truth here. And then we'll see where we are. We take this step by step by step. Don, the point I want to make is that these are very special times in our country. This is the most difficult economic situation we've ever been in. We've got a government that's not leveling with Canadians, that has treated the opposition with disrespect, that doesn't seem to understand it's a minority government. They've broken trust with us. Let's try and walk back down the hill and start addressing the economic needs of this country in a responsible way. As a leader, the new leader of the opposition, I will always act responsibly in the national interest. But the Prime Minister has to make the first move here.
And will you be doing this in conjunction with Mr. Layton as your coalition, your potential coalition partner, or will you be doing this as Michael Ignatieff, leader of the Liberal Party, leader of the opposition, and then Mr. Layton can make up his mind independently?
We have a coalition agreement, but we are not yet a coalition. It's appropriate for me to speak on behalf of the Liberal Party, appropriate for Mr. Layton to speak on behalf of the NDP, Mr. Duceppe to speak for his party, each of us to make the evaluation we need to make. We represent different interests, different ideologies, different views.
So the coalition would only come into effect if the government were defeated?
In my view,
in your view. So
yes.
Until then, you're all operating as you reach a lone ranger, if I can put it that way.
I don't know how else we can operate. But we've made it very clear. I made it clear to the caucus today. I'm prepared to move non-confidence in this government if the budget does not meet the national interest, and I'm prepared to enter in to a coalition government with these other parties if the Governor General asks me to. I've also made it clear that I'm not interested in renegotiating or revisiting the coalition agreement we have. That would create instability of another kind. We've got the agreement, it's there, we can move forward. And Mr. Harper must understand that I'm in deadly earnest. He is broken, he's lost the confidence of the House, and it's up to him to regain it, not up to me.
And if he phones you and says, Michael, come over and drop by, we'll have a cup of coffee and talk about this, will you go?
Don, I've got a lot of other things I'd rather be doing at Christmas. I've got some loved ones I'd like to spend time with. Look,
but if it is an important part of the job to be the opposition leader, to have some reaction with the Prime Minister. Plus, as you say, these are abnormal and unusual times, and perhaps other pleasures have to be set aside, even at Christmas.
Absolutely, Don. I came into politics to behave responsibly, to behave honorably, and to seek the public interest, even in difficult circumstances, and I plan to do that.
Thank you for coming in now. I know you're busy. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, Don. Always a pleasure.